Hi everyone, this is Andrea Dombecki and this is Angel Life Makeover. You could reach me at angelfairyhealing.com. Today I will be talking about Spring Fairy Awakening. It is late April here in South Dakota, which is where I'm living now, and I just got back from traveling back east. I had a great time seeing a lot of the spring blooms, which have not yet bloomed over here. And I wanted to get on and talk about the fairy magic that I've been feeling. I'm about to launch my latest fairy membership, a 3-month membership, which will be flower, fairy, and crystal connection. Each month we'll be connecting with some crystals and flowers from a fairy perspective, connecting with the fairies, the magic, the wisdom of those things, and just letting that unfold. I'm excited about that focused healing intention. May we will start with rose quartz, camellia, rose, and we'll see what else comes through with the crystals and the flowers. You are invited to join that on angelfairyhealing.com. And you can also join my newsletter or my Facebook group to keep updated on my events. So today we are opening our heart to the blooming fairies of spring. I'm super excited to connect with that spring fairy awakening energy, opening our heart to the magic of the blooming flowers and how we are mirroring that in our own life, how we are blooming new projects, we're moving forward, we're reinventing ourselves, and most of all, we're connecting with our true essence, right? A daffodil is a daffodil, a rose is a rose, a pixie is a pixie, and we too have our own unique blueprint, and we are only going to feel the best when we live our unique blueprint, and that means being really comfortable within our own skin, living our purpose, believing in ourselves, and loving and accepting ourselves. It's also about making a safe space for us to bloom in our lives. So let's take a moment to connect with the fairy kingdom and connect with today's theme, which is Spring Fairy Awakening, connecting with the magical, singing, dancing fairies of spring and all the other beings that are connected to that, right? The leprechauns, the unicorns, the gnomes, the trees, all the different flower, plant, fairy, crystal, earth fairies, all the different types of fairies. And of course, they're connected to the plant and animal kingdom. So opening our heart to that and Mother Earth and the songs of nature and of course, the bird songs of nature. We've had lots of bird magic, seeing lots of red robins around. I saw a cardinal when I was traveling. And I'm just kind of slowing down and connecting with the fairy kingdom. And I remind everybody again and again to take time to connect with your fairy guides. It's a refined communication. It takes intention. It takes practice, but it's right there. It's right in front of us. It's every time we walk outside, it's in our home. The fairies are everywhere. So wishing you a beautiful spring fairy awakening, opening your heart to the heart of the fairy kingdom. What messages do the fairies have for you? How would they like to work with you? And how are they at work in your life, in your community, in your world in general? Fairies are helping us to connect with our inner child, our creativity, our magical healing relationship with Mother Earth, right? Getting outside, connecting with the lands, connecting with the trees, the plants, the grass, the woodland creatures, and enjoying our life. Fairies always remind us of the simple pleasures. Like when we were a child, we'd run around, we'd play with sticks and leaves, and we were happy. So awakening that fairy joy in ourselves. And I feel like today's a little bit of a fairy check-in. They say a little bit of a fairy mastermind to really ask, how would you like to work with the fairies? How can the fairies assist you in achieving your dreams and goals? And most of all, living more in joy, living more in true abundance, true alignment, letting go of heavy energies or emotions that maybe have been limiting you, any kind of negative naysaying beliefs maybe that have stopping you from receiving the full spectrum of joy that is available to you in your life, right? I find that the more life experience I have, I realize I get more almost tainted with negative beliefs, and I want to go back to innocent joy, being able to just click into all the happy possibilities. And the leprechauns were coming in with that, reminding us that the gold is hidden right in the front yard. When we shift our perception, when we open our eyes to true sight, we see that beautiful possibilities and miracles are all around us. So we're connecting with the fairy miracle, manifesting magic and healing energy. We're connecting with our own beautiful alignment, the miracle of our life path, blessing all areas of our life and seeing how we're evolving. How are we evolving? And it might be an inner enlightenment, right? We might be evolving within to be able to be content no matter what we're experiencing in the outward world, being able to see beyond the veil, being able to connect with our inner sovereignty, our inner mastery, and also simultaneously being connected to this multi-dimensional magic fairyland that is all around us, and how it's at play in your life and with your purpose. Like for me, I'm definitely a fairy shaman, but I also like to illustrate fairies, tell stories of fairies, write like children's books about fairies. So the fairies have always been around me, nudging my life purpose. And I know it's also kind of an organic way that I fulfill my healing purpose is through art and storytelling. So the fairies today really want to bring us forward on our unique path, because like me, you might have a really unique path that's kind of an uncarved path. And that can get daunting at times. We kind of feel like, why do we have to keep reinventing the way that we're living and expressing our reality? But that is the path of the way shower. That is the path of leadership. And that's really important as we embrace leadership and our place in the creation of the new earth, of the higher dimensional heaven on earth, forging new and better relationships between humans and Mother Earth in nature. And that involves more conscious living, clean living, and living more in harmony with the oceans, the plants, the mountains, the soil, the rocks, being all connected to all these magical things. So as we awaken and connect with this spring fairy rebirth energy, we want to talk to ourselves about how we can recreate ourselves, where we can bloom in our life. What would we like to see change? Where do we see stagnation, and how can we deal with that on every level? You know, on a physical level, you can clean out the closet or do a cleanse. On a spiritual level, you can do some journeying, right? On a mental level, you can do some journaling, or, you know, make some goals about how you would like to release the old, embrace the new, and step into your highest timeline, your path of rebirth. And it's really about letting go of burdens, letting go of woes, so to speak, so that we can be that bright, shiny, beautiful, blooming presence that we were destined to be when we came into this reality. So the fairies are super excited to connect with you. I feel all the beautiful colors of the flower fairies coming in for spring. All of the ferns, all of the trees blooming. We're connecting with the oak. We're connecting with ash, sycamore, willow, aspen, connecting with all of these trees, plants, flowers, and the fairies ask you to connect with the earth and really open your eyes to the magic all around you, in the art, in the gardens, and in the beauty, because messages are everywhere. So fairies want to do a little healing on you to let go of baggage, let go of old grievances, old darkness, negativity, toxic energy, and embrace the new you, the heart rebirth. They're calling it the rebirth of the hearts, and the rebirth of our pure self, right? Before we got weighed down by negative ideas or stressful situations, just reconnecting with that beautiful inner child magic, the inspiration, the way to see all the possibilities of life and be truly connected and truly guided. So we're walking in, stepping in to connect with the spring fairies. I see the queen of the spring fairy kingdom sitting on her throne of spring, a beautiful spring living throne with flowers and vines. I've seen her before, and so we're kind of journeying to her, the spring fairy queen on her beautiful throne, I feel like I see her with all the woodland creatures around her, the bunnies and the squirrels and the birds, and we're just kind of surrendering our ego, surrendering our heavy limited human self, any part of us that is holding us back, and we're opening up to her perception of reality. And she's so connected. And the fairies remind us that it's very simple to be really connected. You are whole. You have all that it is. You have everything within you. And in our modern society, we are always taught to get, right? We need to get more money, get more possessions, achieve more things to complete ourselves. But the Fairy Queen reminds us that we are already whole. We are already part of the magical oneness, the wholeness of the universe. And of course, we can play and create and receive, but we are already whole, already nourished, already part of all that is. So connecting with the Spring Fairy Queen on her throne, listen to her messages, connect with her magical guidance, and get out and enjoy nature, and remember to listen to and connect and journey with your fairy guides. This is Andrea Dombecki from Angel Fairy Healing. Thank you for listening today, and I remind you to connect with the fairy kingdom for healing and enlightenment.